Hi, welcome to the Andrew Buckle Bookshelf Tour number 9. I'm losing track. Done a few bookshelf tours. Well, this one, again, is going to be omnibuses. Now, I'm just going to run through these omnibuses, and this is an amazing one. I always pick up Volume 2 when I mean to pick up Volume 1. Always the way. But here it is. Monsters. The Marvel Monster Bus by Stan Lee, Larry Lieber and Jack Kirby. All of Jack Kirby's brilliant stories, all crammed into a huge amount. It's just really impressive. I had quite a few of these Strange Tale ones and some others as well. Unfortunately, I haven't got any of them now, which is annoying because they've gone up very expensive. But of course, even better, you can find them all here. Of course, they've been recoloured. Not everyone's favourite, but still, they are just great stories. When you read them all one after the other, and I have actually gone through every one of these stories, of course they do get slightly repetitive. Person, alien comes down, blah blah blah, takes on the world, hypnotises everyone or whatever. There's always someone, of course, that isn't, and battles and destroys. And then no one at the end of the story knows that anything's happened, and the world just goes on. Well, just great stories. And this, classic case in point, I think it's this one. This one, What Lurks on Channel X. Real good story. Just brilliant artwork. All the Kirby ones. Of course, the world is hypnotised. I think they did that story quite a few times. You think people, but the thing about these ones, and I love, is that quite often you can see characters you think, oh, that looks like XYZ. You know, there's certain characters you think, well, it's like the Miracle Man or something, or Sue Storm. There's always just characters you think, resemblance to other Kirby greats, of course. But it's good. Really good selection of stories. This is about 800 pages, and it's split over 2 volumes. You can see this one's Volume 2, and the material covers. Now, quite a these stories were actually going while he was doing the Fantastic Four as well. So it actually dates some of these. You can see this one starts 1961, and he was really creating some amazing issues all the way through 62. And when was the final one? November 62. There were a lot of stories, along with, of course, the classics. Quite often, of course, you had like Thor would be 8 pages or 10 pages, and then you would have another couple of stories later on. And these were the stories. I loved them. In the past, I used to read them in the Alan Class series. Most of the stories were just turned up in them black and white, of course. So it is nice to see them in colour. In many ways, I actually prefer to see them in black and white. I'm just used to them in black and white. But that's the Monster Bus 2. And this one is Monster Bus 1. And of course, he's got a fairly famous character that didn't... Hang on. He sounded a little bit more than maybe he's just sort of suddenly forgot. I am Groot. This time, I am Groot, but the Invincible. Wouldn't have worked so well, I think, possibly, in the TV series if you get them going around, or films. If you turned around and said, who dares defy me, all the time as well. Was a sensible one to reduce it down a bit. But again, lots of classic stories all the way through. And this was all the way from 1956. Look at them, just piles and piles. Again, they were quite repetitive in the stories. I mean, there were but I loved all the villains. I was a slave of the living Hulk, the dangerous doll. I learned the dreaded secret of the blip. I mean, you just want to read that, don't you? Get a cover, it says, I want the blip. And then, of course, you've got a little introduction, which is good. And just some really classic Kirby again. Again, some of the characters, that guy looks a bit like the Ant-Man. In fact, I think the Ant-Man story is in here somewhere. Oh, similar sort of thing. Ants, always good. Probably spiders. I mean, look at that. The dangerous doll. And of course, you've got the covers as well. And you've got some bonus material at the back. Some nice selection of bonus materials. I like the fact they include these, because it's great to see these covers. I love picking these ones up. Fear and Tower of Shadows. Tomb of Darkness. Weird Wonder Tales. Of course, Dr. Droom there. Oh, of course, he was Dr. Druid by that point, just to avoid confusion. But these are great stories. And again, of course, they've got all these lovely covers on the back. Strange Worlds. Now, many of these, I think probably some of these have been in collections, various Marvel Masterworks, but I would love to see more collections of these. Would be brilliant. At his peak, he created popular culture as we know it. Well, I think there was also others like the Beatles and things, those sort of things, but still, it's a good blurb to put on the back. Here is another person that created some really amazing stuff, and I probably picked up, Volume 1 this time. Yay! This one, Marvel Masters of Suspense. I don't know why I didn't always gave me the feeling that they were going to do a series of these. And I would love to see more of them, because it's not called Steve Ditko. It's not Steve Ditko 1, Steve Ditko. Likewise, that of course wasn't Kirby. But they're all of the Steve Ditko stories. For some weird reason, they didn't put all the various covers on the back. I don't know why they didn't do that. Makes no sense, but still, they didn't. But lots and lots of classic stories, and they changed the format slightly. Actually, very hard to read. You can just see there all the dates. You've got like 60, January 60, 59, all the way through December 1961. Lots and lots of stories. And again, there's a fairly repetitive style. And sometimes, of course, when you've got something like this one, the inking, A Tale to Marvel At, doesn't really look instantaneously Ditko. There's bits of it, of course, that look like Ditko, but there's also other bits that just don't look the same. Oh, I love that one. That was great. I mean, that you can see the Ditko there. But some of the early ones, you sort of look and think, oh, especially when it's different inker. Really can't tell. But again, you've got characters that look like characters that, of course, came in Spider-Man. Got a load of great characters there. Tales to Astonish My Job, Capture a Martian. Though, of course, the cover doesn't always relate to the story here, because it might have not been, might have been Ditko. I don't know if, yes, it's all the Ditko, S Ditko. So they don't always, I don't think they put all the covers. So you had the issues, and you had like at the top there, you had just a little thing saying what it was. So the cover didn't exist if it was someone else. So they didn't put that. But they were great stories. I came from the shadow world. They were just so, it's a bit like Spider-Man when I'm a changing man. See, that would have been a real good villain against Spidey. Something lurks inside. There were lots of great ideas, and I think it was just a powerhouse of ideas all the way through. Even if it was, like, say, similar stories. I always love these ones where we'd go through a room and then find another room and then another room. And you normally find a shop or something. Normally all the fog would be around. There's normally fog. And of course he would then be lost forever. And he's normally on the run from the police or something. So he sort of gets captured and it sort of goes forever. And of course he's at the end, he's just stuck in a prison or something. And there's always a twist at the end. No! Yes. Classic stuff. But he did that story quite a few times. There's again going through rooms backwards. The chamber is empty. Oh. But they're still classic. All the various sort of galleries or museums and things, you'd have all the characters coming alive. Just classic. I would love to see a Don Heck one. I know lots of people probably say, no. Don Heck would be great. Maybe Bill Everett. I would love to see a Bill Everett. 2 volumes, all his various, because he did loads. Obviously Submariner and everything, but also did lots of sort of horror ones as well. I would love to see that. 1 volume. I don't know how many works he did, but I would love to see him. But they've just done Ditko, as well as, of course, Kirby did big 2. But still, I think. And also Joe Maneely. Joe Maneely, that would be just 3 or 4 volumes. Must have done lots of stuff. So you've got Suspense, this one. Really good again. And you can see the map stories and some. Look at that. Quite a lot. This is amazing. Adult Fantasy 7, blah, 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 all the way through. And you can see, obviously, done virtually all the issue was done by him. They're, like, of course, all the issues normally when they've done that Spider-Man. But it always seems odd when you see like lots and lots of stories. I don't know how long they took. But he was crazy. And again, lots of the characters look very, very familiar. And this one, just brilliant. I can almost touch it. The ray is finally wearing off. And of course, it was the twist at the end that the person is also an alien or something. They did that so many times. And genie ones, they love genie ones. Or the person sort of making a wish that he was bigger than the earth sort of thing. Ends up sort of falling off. That would be brilliant in a film, wouldn't it? I think that's sort of... But again, just classic. The ice monster cometh. I don't know if that was a story. And these sort of ones, again, you've got like the Aunt May sort of Parker, and it's just brilliant. Lots of great stories. And I always love this bit as well. Down the bottom, you always had amazing adult fantasy comics. Just see all the things that often say like Hulk or Fantastic Four or something. And also, important announcement. I wonder what's going to happen there. Spidey! I don't know. Did he? I'm not saying there's Spidey stories in here. Anyway, I think it's just great. Some classic stories. And that's one, Steve Ditko. Now it's another one of Kirby. They really love their Kirby. I don't know if there's going to be any more, because there must be some other stories. There must be other missing stories that haven't been included in the monsters, as well as war and romance. Did he do any crime ones? You would have thought so, because he did lots of crime stuff in other comics, like Harvey Comics. So why didn't he do from Marvel? But still, this one, the complete Kirby war and romance. I love this stuff. Though there is a lot of duplication if you've got the Kirby sort of Sergeant Fury ones. So it's slightly annoying, but still just a great book. But I love these ones. Actually, Atlas at War is one of the best books. I love that for war books. So if you've got that minefield, this one is 1956. Again, you've got the battle. Look at that brilliant bit of Kirby there. Find them, chase them, blast them. No subtlety in that title. Girls in Love. So you've got all the romance stories as well. I learned about love from Larry. Okay. I don't know why they wasted space with this sort of thing. I mean, great as it is, I mean, nothing wrong with it, but it just seems a bit odd. Just put a panel there for no real reason, particularly. He, especially was in between, oh no, it was actually a war comic and a romance comic. Just seems odd. He was perfect, but I lost him. Just great titles. And they are actually generally good stories. Again, there is an element, they're a bit repetitive, but still, I loved them. Really good. They've always got similar poses all the way through them as well. Very sort of, not probably the best of Kirby artwork, but still enjoyable. By Stanley and Jack Kirby, a teenager can also hate. I'm quite certain that's the case. Fun girl. And so you've got all these stories. And again, I wonder if there must be some other Kirby stuff. I have no idea. I assume that there's a few. This one again, Sergeant Fury. So we're into the sort of 60s period now. At the mercy of Baron Strucker. Of course, he went on with Hydra. But at the mercy, he was a mean, evil piece of work, he was. Of course, you can see a picture of Adolf at the background there. Loads and loads of classic war comics. These stories, of course, have been... There isn't a Sergeant Fury omnibus collection. I'm surprised I haven't brought one out. Of course, there's the epics. And that's where I've got them. I've got them in the epic form. So it's still Court Martial of Sergeant Fury. And again, you've got the covers there. Now, I don't think he continued for very long with the Sergeant Fury ones, but got some lovely extras at the back there as well. Again, none of the covers. Very odd. Don't know why they abandoned. Some they do, some they don't. And for some weird reason, this one, they've just gone for that. But you can see the stories there. A whole range of material. So, Sergeant Fury, what have you got? Can't even see it. Oh, 1 to 8, 10 to 20, and 25. Now, some of those probably haven't been reprinted. Because I don't think there's a Sergeant Fury Epic Volume 2 as yet. There's a Volume 1. But this one I haven't read. But I did, well, I say I haven't read the omnibus, read quite a lot of the comics. I love these ones. Howard Duck. Just great little fun stories. Just brilliant. And again, weirdly, I mean, I keep assuming that Marvel always put the covers on the back. They don't. Wish they would. But still, fun stories. Very unusual. The artwork was very basic in many ways, but still great fun, which is, of course, what you want comics to be sometimes. Not always. Sometimes you want the action-packed sort of thing, but you've got these sort of quirky little stories. I think that they could do a really, possibly for some reasons, that they might not do a Howard the Duck TV series. That's not, but still, I just love these ones. Absolutely got the Skrulls, you've got Captain America munching some nachos or something. I assume they're nachos, no idea. Don't eat them myself, but you've got obviously Gwen there. Is it Gwenpool? I think that's the character. We've got loads of great characters. It's just the stories were brilliant. And you can see what's included there. If you're looking for a real reasonably priced volume, it's quite a thin volume, but still, I think, some great stories. And anything that's got the unbeatable Squirrel Girl. There is an omnibus, I think, of that, but unfortunately it's very, very expensive. So I haven't bought it yet. Maybe at some point. Not everyone's favourite, I know. Some DC ones. So I've just gone through those ones. This one, Silver Age Supergirl. This is volume 1. Great stories. Again, nothing on the back other than just a standard blurb there. And it tells you Action Comics 252 to 307. They were all often quite short stories. But really, very nicely done. Very, very sharp. Very, very beautiful, very simple stories, but great. Of course, they always fall apart. She's at orphanage. There's lots of stories that she has to go away, and there's always some character that suspects that she might be Supergirl, and then they have a story where makes certain he doesn't. We think, oh, that can't be because there's a robot or something. Whatever. There's always an alternate, a reason, because you've also got some of the other characters turning up as well. Obviously, Batman and Robin there, and of course, Superman turns up, and many other Crypto, of course. Just great little tales. And I love that. Super Cat. Love Super Cat there. Classic stuff. But there's a lot of tales. And I remember reading these at the time. I love picking these up. And they were just little great ones in adventure stories, action comics, adventure stories, those sort of ones. Action comics, adventure stories. Who made that title up? But still, this is a really, really good little volume. And there is a volume 2. I don't know if they'll ever bring out a volume 3. Probably not, because I suspect it will be called the Bronze Age one. But this one, ooh, I don't know. There might be other stories. I never know about the definition of where they put the Bronze Age for these ones. But this one's volume 2. Again, similar sort of stories, similar sort of style. Great selection of artwork there. Action comics. Mainly, I think they're all action comics, not adventure comics. I think she was in adventure comics later on, wasn't she? I mean, I think that was... But here, another introduction, which is always good. Again, no covers on the back there. But you have some classic tales there. Supergirl. And, well, I just love these volumes. They're really, really good. Though, just flicking through this. Do they have the covers? Yes, there's some covers. I was just thinking, I haven't seen that many covers just flicking through it, which is very odd. I suppose the covers was maybe someone else. Oh, here's Action Comics. Of course, you've got Superman. She's sharing, so she was sharing the comic at that point of Action Comic. I've forgotten that, I must admit. I love those ones. I loved those. I don't know why, but something was, whenever I picked those ones up, I was quite often collecting those ones just for that bit. I have no idea what they even put it on there, pop art sort of style. But it was just great. And of course, you've got the Justice League of America in there as well. The Silver Age Adam Strange Omnibus. Weirdly, it doesn't say Volume 1 or Volume 2, so I assume this is it. Maybe there's a Bronze Age one at some point, but it's a nice volume. Now, this is the earliest of my DC omnibuses. I think I bought this one first, though maybe it might have been the Justice League one, but around about the same sort of time. And this one has got the worst, I think, of injury to the spine. Not very good. Really, very bad. I mean, the artwork looks amazing. Great stories. I loved reading them at the time. And you can see the stories there. Obviously, lots of science fiction and fantasy there. And also, of course, many other characters from the DC universe turn up occasionally in this as well. Again, no covers at the back, but you can see a range of different ones. You've got Hawkman there, Strange Adventures, Mystery in Space, etc. Nice little volume. Quite hefty. One day I will actually read it complete and go through all the stories. I'm actually reading the Strange Adventures one at the moment. That's very, very good. This one, the Hulk. Took me a while to get this one because I've got epic collections. I've had the Essential, etc. And also I've read them earlier as well. I didn't buy this, but finally I saw a copy reasonably priced. And I thought, you know what, I must get this one, The Incredible Hulk. And there's some great stories. Unfortunately, it ends weirdly on the first of the Incredible Hulk stories. You can see down there, first Incredible Hulk, but you've got loads of classic. Obviously got the Hulk 1 to 6, and then you've got some other ones, Tales to Astonish, all the way through. Now, it doesn't include all the sort of other Hulk stories. That's one of the reasons why I think I've still got the Essential Hulk, because the Essential Hulk actually had lots of the other Hulk stories, the Fantastic Four one. This one has just got the pure Hulk stories. So you've got the first one there, you've got Hulk. Now, the Hulk looked very different. Obviously, there's Steve Ditko ones, just classic tales, so they were really good. I don't know why it stopped Hulk 1 to 6. I wish they had continued at that point, but obviously at some point they looked at the sales before that and thought, oh, we're not going to continue that one. But probably it would have been brilliant if they continued with it. General Fang. Didn't have the world's greatest of villains, I must admit, General Fang. I love that one where he sort of had a mask. I mean, really? I think people would have probably slightly noticed the size of the Hulk's face was slightly different. That would have been very strange. But still, the Chameleon, of course, you've got the Leader, all those classic tales. And some really good ones. Bill Everett work. I love this one. These are some of the Bill Everett ones. Boomerang, a character that should have continued on. I always loved this character. Just me. However, some classic tales all the way through the Hulk. Now, I don't know if there's a Hulk Volume 2. I haven't seen a Hulk Volume 2. I might be wrong on that. I'm going to stand on that one. This one, Wonder Woman, Gail Simon, I'm not certain, Omnibus. Haven't read it yet. I love many of her other volumes of various works that I've seen. So I thought, you know what, I must get that one. And it looks, ooh, that creaked a bit. The Green Lantern's Light. But there's a lot of, obviously, probably classic stories in there. I will get around to reading it one day, I'm certain. Life comes full circle, it says there. And I don't know what it includes here. Oh, it includes quite a bit. You can just see down there, Sensation Comics. No, not the Golden Age ones. These ones I love. I absolutely love the Justice League of America. I've got most of those in single issues. I've still got lots of them. Not all of them. I obviously haven't got the Brave and the Bold. Would love to have that one, but this one, I probably had it years ago, but I haven't got it now. The Silver Age Justice League of America. This one's volume 2. And this volume is quite oversized and large, and again suffers badly from spine damage there. Quite a few of my very early omnibuses, and I carefully opened. I did the usual, open them up the way you should open them up. Still just as bad, really terrible, but filled with some great stories. I just love this one. This one's Mystery in Space 75, Justice League of America 31, all the way through, and you got 63, all the way through to 76. Some just classic tales. Love these ones. Just brilliant artwork all the way through. And they were quirky, weird stories. I know they're not everyone's favourite. I mean, probably I prefer the Avengers to Justice League. But at the time, I still enjoyed them. I enjoyed reading all that, the Satana stories and everything like that. They were just great. And I still have super fond memories of reading these. Not all the stories are brilliant, but there was a decent selection of really classic tales in that. So that one, I think that was it. Or maybe there wasn't a volume 3. I might be wrong on that, but I don't think there is, because we also got this one. This is the volume 1. Unfortunately, slightly different cover, but this is obviously the volume 1 omnibus. And these are great stories. I love the early ones of Brave and the Bold, Starro the Conqueror, and you got a brilliant forward, etc. introduction. And there's the original tale, just brilliant. I've noticed there is actually a facsimile version just come out. I was going to buy that. I picked it up and I put it down, and then after I walked out the shop, I thought, oh well, it's probably gone now. But still, just classic stories all the way. I really love it. Now, weirdly, some of the stories come out badly reproduced. I don't know why. You got that one here, just a bit, it's very rough. And then you got other stories you go to, and the artwork is super, really sharp. Really looks brilliant. But then you get some that are really just blurry, and there's 1 or 2 pages. Also, the covers quite often seem to have that problem. Very strange, but just really great stories. I always loved the split when they would have like the characters would go off, and you'd have like Flash and Superman, and then you would have Batman and Green Lantern or something, or Aquaman and Green Lantern there. They always did that sort of combinations. I think it was quite nice how they mixed them up. Martian Manhunter and Atom there. Lots of great stories all the way through that. Probably the oddest book I've got in my collection, in terms of omnibuses anyway, the Golden Age Volume 1 Omnibus. Now, I suggest, of course, with Volume 1, that there will be a Volume 2. Weirdly, why Green Arrow? Why not Flash, Green Lantern, all the ones that you would think that they would bring out omnibuses for, but the Green Arrow. A minor character, but still very enjoyable stories, and I love them. 1942, 43, that sort of period. Really great tales, and it would be nice if they continued and bring out like a volume 2 at some point. Perhaps the sales weren't brilliant. I have no idea, but I did enjoy this. And as you can see, there's the list on the back. More fun comics, adventure comics, world's finest comics as well. Now, I've got here a number of Justice League ones, as well as Teen Titans. This one's Justice. Now, this is the Bronze Age one, volume 2. And I didn't pick every issue of these up. Some of them. Not everyone, so it's really quite nice to actually pick them up and have them all in an omnibus, so I can actually read all the stories that I only, in some cases, had the first part of the story, and I never actually worked out what was going to happen in the next issue. Not like the Avengers, where it was fairly more consistent. Oh, there was a period when, of course, it wasn't, when suddenly we didn't get the Avengers in the shops, and it was the same for me with Justice League. They turned up, and then often you find an issue 2 or 3 months before would turn up. Well, you might even get a couple of years ago, would suddenly find it, and you think, what? What's issue 99 or whatever, 98 appearing when it was, you were on about 120 or something. Just seemed to be very odd distribution at times in some of the shops. Maybe they just found a pile of them somewhere, but still, they were great stories, and I did enjoy reading them. And they're lovely, beautiful condition, absolute super sharp, and just great tales. This one collects 114 to 146. Now, next one, Teen Titans. The new Teen Titans. I haven't bought the Teen Titans. I think there's an omnibus edition for the Teen Titans. There's certainly some. I've got one of the paperback ones, but this one's the new Teen Titans. And I love this one. Omnibus Volume 1. And the stories in this one includes the DC Presents. That was issue 26. I had quite a load of copies of those. I bought a stack of them because I just loved it so much. Sadly, I got rid of most of them over the years. But still, just these stories, classics. Absolutely brilliant artwork by Perez. Brilliant stories all the way through. Some great villains. And just, I loved it. Just a beautiful, beautiful magazine. And it's just great to have them in this omnibus. Now, weirdly, I haven't bought, I think there's a volume 4. I've never bought volume 4. Maybe one day I will. Still, next one. This one is volume 2. Cool, that's a bit of luck. I thought it might be volume 3. I've got volume 3 a little bit later. So you've got another set of stories. Again, absolutely brilliant. Lots of great stories, Starfire, etc. Classic artwork all the way through. And I love those ones where it had free sort of 16-page comic included as well. That was always just great. Kidnapped. And I love all the alien races, everything about it. It was just, to me, was my favourite comic during that period. Just loved getting this each and every month. And this one's 21 to 41, and it also includes some additional material as well. I should say not bonus material at the back. They never do. Why? Oh, why? No, I'm going to be proved wrong. No, I was just going to quickly check. Sometimes you might suddenly think, oh, they have. But they haven't. Just baffling. I love this one. I love the book, but I love the artwork. The artwork's great. This one, Michael Allred. Anything by him, I just love his work. And also I love the TV series. On Netflix, it was just, for me, the best. And recently I've just been enjoying Ghosts, USA version. Obviously got the same woman that was in iZombie. She's excellent in that. She was excellent in this as well. Brilliant. Obviously very different. The stories, actually, when you get it, it's completely different. But it still was just a great read. And like I said, the series, one of my probably top 10 favourite series of all time. I just love that series. Just so quirky, so odd, and just everything about it. Great artwork all the way through. And very odd. It was very odd stories, but very enjoyable. Now, I don't know much about this particularly. It was 28 issues of the original Vertigo series. I didn't buy a single issue when it came out. And it was only later I found out about this and I thought, wow, must get this book. And it's just great. Absolutely brilliant. The iZombie Omnibus. Definitely now a hit TV series. You can see, obviously, I got it after it become a series on TV. This one, The New Teen Titans. Brilliant. Volume 3 and just some great stories again. Just full of classics. And this one includes 42 to 58. And I think first time for the third. I'm certain there's a fourth omnibus. I just haven't bought it. I might be wrong. Some people are going to look out for the fourth one, fifth one. But just again, full of some great artwork. Though saying that, it did slightly change. I wouldn't say it's as good as Volume 2 and Volume 1. But you've got Terror there. All the characters. Just, of course, Starfire. No, it did change. The artist was different. Definitely was different. But still, I did enjoy it at the time. I think by this time, I was starting to sort of, Crisis. I didn't, these sort of ones, the Crisis on Infinite Earths, wasn't particularly my sort of favourite. But the artwork had changed, and I wasn't so pleased with that. So, probably the reason why I started to sort of lose interest. Though I did, after a while, pick up a lot of these issues at various comic marts. They were quite cheap, and so I did read them that way. Still, great to have that volume. And this one is the Bronze Age Justice League of America Omnibus Volume 1. Again, full of great stories. Lots of, this one's got, 77 to 113. And you've got Batman, Superman, the usual regulars, Flash, of course. Just great stories all the way through. Of course, a few pretty bad ones. The Name of This War. I always loved it when they had the Justice Society of America as well. Zatanna, all the various things. Justice Society of America. Of course, I didn't know vast amounts about the Justice Society of America. I didn't have any of the comics. It was only when we got the issues, 100-page giants that would include brilliant stories of the Justice Society of America that I actually got them. But I did enjoy getting this volume, and this is absolutely great. Oh, and quite a hefty one. Now I think the spines are all okay on this one. And this is a favourite as well. I love this story. When it came out in the comics, I thoroughly enjoyed picking them up each and every month. And again, Michael Allred, strange enough, and also Laura Allred there, Dan Slott, just brilliant. Really, it's all the collects. And the artwork and the stories were just completely daft. Galactus, Silver Surfer, everything. The kitchen sink was thrown into this. Just loved this story. Brilliant. Look at that. Just beautiful just seeing that. I don't know. Just masterpiece. It's one of those books that I can just pick up and read. It's very easy to read as well. It's one of those ones you can just skim through very quickly. I mean, you can obviously read it, but because I read the stories earlier, obviously it's fairly easy to pick it up again and just look through it and just think, wow, they're just classics, just classics. And of course you've got the Thing there and many, many others. Poor old Thing being bopped there. Not good. This is an unusual one. This is the Tales from the Crypt. I haven't got the Russ Cochran versions of these stories. I wish I had the volumes, all the box sets of the Tales from the Crypt. I haven't, so I had to get the French one. I have actually got quite a lot of the stories in a variety of books, Fantagraphics, Dark Horse, etc. But I haven't got them in a complete form. So I thought, you know what? Just get them in French. Why not? Just superb though. Beautiful artwork, of course. The stories are great in French as well as in English. And I think this is pretty decent. Perhaps not as good, of course, as the really, truly classic Russ Cochran one, but still a pretty decent volume. And it's complete in one volume. It does weigh quite a lot though. It is a huge, chunky book. I'm not certain how many pages, probably 800, 900 pages. And it's also got a lot of extra material, bonus material at the back, which is really nice as well. Good volume. Now, unfortunately, I don't think they brought out many of these sort of volumes. Some of the other ones like Haunt, etc., that would be nice as well. I haven't got those either in the box set. I haven't got any of the horror Russ Cochran ones. I wish I had, but I've never just... Now they're about 500, 400 quid. Very expensive. I don't think I will ever own them. This one is pretty unusual. Namor, the Submariner. I'm a mega fan of Submariner. And this one's, of course, my favourite. John Byrne. And you've got JLA as well. The artwork is superb all the way through. Some great little tales. And actually, always when you look at that, really sort of reminds you, some places, obviously, the style that Bill Everett did in the early days. But it's just a great, and you've got there, Namrita, and you've got even my favourite, the Supergirl. You can't beat the story. Oh, Supergirl there. Just a big giveaway. Of course, he probably, without fail, he always loses. He's got all the powers, but he's useless. But what a great character. And, well, this is just a great, hefty tome. And you can see, again, all the brilliant issues on the back. You even got, I haven't seen that one. Namor against the Wolverine. I haven't checked that one out. Read quite a few of these stories, but that one I am quite certain I have never seen. Still, something to read in a little while. I haven't read this one, Power Pack. Now I got this because I saw a brilliant, I think it was Near Mint, one of the videos near, and he was reviewing it. I thought, you know what, I must get this. Just sounded brilliant. Power Pack, Volume 1, classic as it says there. And they look good. I've flicked through some of the stories, but I haven't read it. I have to say it's not one that I didn't even pick up the issues when they were coming out at the time. So it's still to be read at some point. Sort of been sitting on the shelf for quite a while. You can see it's got, let's see, what Power Pack. Well, it's got 1 to 36 as well as some Uncanny X-Men, Marvel graphic novel, etc. And my favourite, finally, after all the omnibuses I've covered in here, Doc Savage. I love these ones. Weirdly, this is from Dynamite. Marvel have never brought one out, this sort of thing. This is Archives Volume 1. Always gives a suggestion that there is going to be a Volume 2. The Curtis Archer magazine era. And unfortunately, it doesn't put the back covers on there. The covers, I should say, on the back. But this is still full of just brilliant work. You've got all the stories from the Marvel one back in the 70s. And I love these. I bought them when they came out. I've got a couple of issues still. Doc Savage, the Man of Bronze, Doc Savage. Just great stories. I've got a few of the pulp novels. I love those, as well as other stories as well. Doc Savage. And just great. Really probably the best quality book. I just think it's really, obviously when you go to some of these pages, they're not so great. I mean, they're fine, but they're not. But these, I think they're just absolutely beautiful, glossy, shiny, and as good as if not better than I think the originals. Certainly my copies of the originals anyway. It's also got all the adverts as well. Can't beat a good old adverts there. Doc Savage, the Man of Bronze battles the Inferno scheme. Now, it was always a pity that they never continued this. I think there was like, well, there was 8 issues. That was it. Just a pity I just thought it was a brilliant series. And then they stopped. Obviously didn't sell many copies or something else. I don't know. I never followed it once it went on to other ones like Dynamite themselves, of course, have got Doc Savage. Is that still going? I haven't been following it. But still, this one, just a great collection. And it's a really slightly weird format for omnibus. It's slightly wider than the standard one. So it's still a brilliant book. So that's another shelf. I've got the shelf behind me to do in another video, as well as a few other shelves to go through as well. So I hope you found this of interest. Any books that you want to see maybe reviewed a bit more, and I have reviewed some of them, not all. So if you've got some that you like, don't pick the Power Pack one because I haven't done that one yet, read through it. Hope you found it of interest. Bye.